to the troops at every corner what we do.
We are live. Return to Roots podcast. Welcome. Today we're coming to you live from the First and Goal project. We have one of our veteran friends who is a master in his craft. He does. Tell our audience, what do you do?
Well,
Who
hi.
are you?
My name is Marco. I'm a business owner and partner at Image One Camera and Video. I'm also a Marine Corps veteran, 17 years active duty. I'm here today because a couple of great connections of mine that I met last year, the Patriots and Paws, Marketing Millennial, your organization, Yogi, basically said, hey, we like what you're doing in the community for veterans. And part of what my mission is to help veterans get exposure for all the great things that we do for each other, but also helping each other to just come together, have that camaraderie that we usually have in the military, helping each other out with whatever they need. If it's mental health issues, if it's just have somebody to talk to, or if it's financial assistance, if it's housing, if it's food. I also work with disabled American veterans. In the camera store, I do content creation, which I help veteran organizations get that exposure. But then I also do massage therapy, where I help veterans on a personal level do massage and therapy. A lot of veterans like myself, Marine Corps PTSD, didn't even know it. I was diagnosed. I went through a program called Bud's Odyssey back about a year and a half ago. It helped me with the mind mapping and the whole blue brain, whatnot. And so it kind of unlocked some of that trauma that I had that I didn't know I had. And when I got help, I was like, whoa, how come I didn't? Why did it take me 10 years to ask for help after being out of the military? And then when I finally started to get the help, I was able to have a better quality of life, make better connections and relationships with people. And so then this is just my way of giving back. So meeting amazing guys like you and your organization and the people that are here at this event today, First and Goal, it's my way of saying, look, you guys did great things for your country and your service. We haven't forgotten about you. We want to make sure that you are there. The video camera is one way to bring that message to light, tell that story. Photography, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, a video is worth 1,000,000, right? So anyway, we can tell the story, right? That's what we're here to do. Regardless, rain, shine, wind, sleet, snow, it doesn't matter. We're here to have a good time, represent, and just do what we can. And so whatever I can do to help, if you guys out there, if you're listening, you're watching, just know that the veterans that we have, both active duty military, our first responders, police and firefighters, our nurses and doctors, these are all people who, we put ourselves on the line every day. We definitely need the help and support from just the community and other people. And I can't think of a better place and organization like this that does it and puts it out there. And, these guys are out golfing, having a great time, enjoying themselves and just coming together. And so that's what it's really all about. And so that's where I'm at.
So, what is the First and Goal project?
Well, from what I've been able to see, it was started by Dave, and Dave is a really great guy. I've only met him a few times, but from what I've seen so far, he's a very lovable, larger-than-life gentleman. And all these people would not come out to support him and the cause, which is to help veterans, just to get the help and assistance they need if he wasn't doing something right. It's just an added bonus that there's a lot of NFL players and UFC fighters. I met Chuck Liddell last night, for instance. He was one of my childhood guys that I was in love with, because when I was in the Marine Corps as a recruiter in Las Vegas, Nevada, I would take the recruits, right, the poolies, to the Caesars Palace to watch the UFC fights. And I met Chuck Liddell back then. And so
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we've known each other about 20 years ago,
Uh-huh.
So it's a different ballgame now. Now I'm on the other side helping the veterans come in. I'm not a recruiter anymore, but definitely still trying to be a part of the military in any way I can. You miss it. You miss it sometimes, and you miss that camaraderie. Sometimes civilians don't necessarily get us as military veterans. And so we need to kind of stick with our flock and gravitate towards people who understand what we've been through and then assist them in any way. So, yeah.
So, with that, right? You've done a lot of great things. You
Thank
have
you.
a lot of experiences. What would be something that you could tell a transitioning service member right now to do? What would be the most meaningful advice if you were about to transition
Sure.
and you were in their shoes?
I was.
What would you tell them?
Well, here's how my transition went. I got out of the military after 17 years. I did not want to get out. Okay. Life kind of just hits you hard sometimes, and the circumstances at the time, I didn't want to get out. I was kind of forced out, and I ended up sitting at home for a year trying to figure out life. And I'll tell you, the hardest thing was trying to figure out what to do now, especially when I had a resume, which I thought was very good, but I got turned down most places I went. They're like, you're overqualified, you're asking too much. You're overqualified, asking too much. And I got to thinking, well, what does that mean exactly to be overqualified and asking too much? I was asking the same amount of money that I was making as a staff sergeant when I was in. I didn't think it was too much to ask. My overqualifications, I felt that that's the whole point of being in the military, is to learn life skills and to come out and make the society, your work environment, a better place. Nobody wanted me. And so that led me to go into my own business, and I became an entrepreneur. And back when that happened, I actually started a children's magazine with my wife at the time. And so we ended up publishing and producing a children's magazine. But to go back to your question, what would the advice be? Don't wait. Don't sit on your ass waiting for somebody to come to you. Unfortunately, this is what it is. Pick up the phone or the computer, get online, search for veteran resources, okay? And I don't mean like those national organizations. I mean like your organization, or the organizations that are very small, but they're in your local community. They are also veterans usually. Sometimes they're regular civilians or a spouse of civilian or a veteran, and they want to make a difference. And the only way that they can make a difference is if you show up, okay? Getting involved with these programs, even if you're like, don't know what to do, where to start. I mean, you can start with the DAVs, the Elks clubs. You can start with all these, just any organization that's out there. They're out there, trust me. And you can go to colleges. Local colleges have veteran organization clubs and whatnot. Just get involved, right? Don't wait. Start talking to people. If you don't have ability, like your service-connected disability, start that soon, because the sooner you start that type of stuff, that transition, the better off you're going to be. It gets more expensive as time goes on with inflation and whatnot. So don't sit around and wait. Some of us have a low rating, some of us have 0 rating, some of us deserve more, and you got to really fall in line with the right people. And so but you got to be a little bit proactive. So you can't just sit around waiting for somebody to come to you. Be proactive, get out there, connect with these organizations. That's why this podcast is great, because it's a way to reach those people. That's why I'm like, yes, let's do it if I can help out. And then that's what I would do. But for me, I started my own business because I wasn't able to get the help that I needed, that I wanted. The expectation wasn't there. It was just different getting out, and it was like there's no comrades, there's nobody for me to call on, because everybody, they were off doing the missions and whatnot for almost a year, and it was tough.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then one day I just woke up and I'm like, I can't anymore. I can't sit here. I can't do this. I started taking all the skills and expertise I had off my resume, and it didn't matter at that point. I was just kind of done with working somewhere. And I took my skills that I did have as a recruiter, as sales. I actually went out and sold the magazine before we even printed it. But that's what got me into marketing. That's what got me into the content creation. That's what got me into doing video. I actually started out doing websites. And my first website I sold was $250. And I thought that was neat. The last website I sold was about $50,000.
Nice.
About
beautiful.
A year ago. So, it just depends. And those are the skills you got to work on. But, as I'm getting older, and as I'm starting to realize that mental health is important, self-care is important, I actually got my license. I'm a certified massage therapist. And so part of that is to give back to veterans and those first responders. I get free massages. All you got to do is sign up for my stuff, Auraom, AURAOM.com. Sign up. If I'm in your area, I can drive to you, or you can pay me to come out to you, whatever the case. But I want to give, a massage, 60 minutes or so, just so you can feel what it feels like to be grounded and to get peace back in your life, and to understand that the pain, as long as you're managing it, for those of us in pain, if you're managing it properly with the right type of people in your life, it can go away, or at least not be as a burden every day for you. But that's it. I mean, what else do you have for me, Yogi? What else can I do for you?
Well, right now, we have met one of our first guests from the First and Goal project.
Yeah.
right? He will not talk highly of himself because he's a very humble person, right? But he was or is with his son. Which come around, come around, come around.
Come here, Isaac.
They are the photographers,
Yes.
videographers
For Image
for
One
the
camera and video. Yeah, for the event.
entire event, right? And it is a beautiful, beautiful event so far. And the quality of pictures, it is amazing. So everybody here, this is his son,
How's it going?
right? And who brings their child, right? What kind of leadership, what kind of responsibility does that take? So what is your perspective? How did you come here? How do you like it here? Why are you here?
I just feel that this is just a way to get out and to get experience for certain like events like this. You know, this is something that I've done before in the past, but not as large as this on a scale. And you know, it's nice to get experience, especially out while having fun. You know,
Yeah, we're having fun.
we are having fun.
Did your dad have to force you?
No, you just asked me.
Why and or how did you say yes?
Well, I try to like to get as much experience as possible, so he doesn't even have to ask. Like I knew that he was coming to this event, and I was just like I was, you know, for the most part, I asked him if I can go, if I can come and get experience, because you know you can't learn too much. You know, there's always going to be opportunities, and you just have to take them if it's gonna benefit you or not. Which most of the time it does, all the time. So I try to take as much opportunities as I can, even if they don't, even if I can't do it, I'll even take them just so I can get a feel. And even if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. But if it does, then that's more experience for me, and it's a great experience for the other person.
I would like to say, and I would like to acknowledge, right? Getting to that mindset, it didn't happen overnight. It's been something that has been engraved and raised from your father. Am I correct? So, what other kind of leadership can you talk about more than actually having your children be part of that? What kind of um, I'm lost for words,
Okay.
right? But that is one of the best feelings, I would say. Correct me if
It
I'm
is.
wrong.
Yeah, it is for
To
sure.
be able to have that without you having to force your child, without having to push him, right?
Yeah.
Everything that he just talked about, right? You can never learn too much. How do you approach that, right? And then, how old are you?
17.
You're 17 years old. You could be home playing video games, right?
Yeah.
But instead you chose
I would love to have that in my house, or you know, I'd love to get in contact with you, and maybe we can work something out. And then from that point on, I would just like, okay, maybe it doesn't have to just be a hobby. It could be my full-time job because I have fun while doing it. You know, it's not something that I'm like dreading every day to do. It's fun for me. It's a little stressful here and there, but it's fun for the most part.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy, you know, printing and painting stuff, especially when like the people's faces, the reactions when I deliver the product. It's like that just makes me happy that people get to see that people like what I do or like what I make.
and then so again, how many 17-year-olds do you know that own their own business and that choose to come and collaborate with their father, right? And then that choose to come and learn. And not just that, I can tell you from my own personal experience, the quality of customer service is insane, right? And it's all natural, right? So I'm a great admirer of both of you guys.
Thank you.
And then you are gonna come onto the official podcast
Yep.
later on.
Yep.
So
Love to.
looking forward to doing that. What parting words would you guys give to our audience?
Hmm. Well, you got anything? You got any words of wisdom?
If I had to say anything, it would just to get out of your comfort zone. It honestly, it's nerve-wracking. It really is. Like coming out here, meeting new people, but it's not that bad. As soon as you do it, it's like, wow, like this is doable. You know, a lot of the times I ask myself, am I even qualified to do certain things? And it's just like, it's true. It's just like you just have to go out and try it to find out. You gotta, and most of the time you are qualified. You just feel like you're not, or you don't know until you do it. So just get out your comfort zone and take that leap and just do what you want to do, no matter how uncomfortable you feel. If that's what you want to do, then just do it.
Beautiful.
I don't think I need to say anything else.
I am good. I am good. All right, audience, we will be coming next to you with our next victim, I guess, and our program provider here in a few minutes. Taking a break.
Thanks, Yogi. Appreciate you, man.
Return to Roots podcast. We are live. We'll bring you our friend Jordan from Kager Gaming.
Today, you guys,
right?
by all means, use it.
You guys have met him. Now we are live with him. Jordan, welcome to the show.
Good to be on the show in person.
Yeah, I know, right? How radical is that?
It's wild. Like I showed up here, I'm like, oh yeah, Yogi's gonna be here, and I don't know, it's just a whole different ballgame now. I like it.
What would you say to our audience? What is your perspective about the First and Goal project?
First and Goal project. Well, I've been working with Dave a little bit, and it's just incredible to be another part in a community that's trying to help people. And so Dave is out here raising money for charity, doing all the things. He's doing all the things people talk about doing, and he's just making them happen. And so to be able to just be here in support of him is awesome. And I don't know enough about his inner workings to really like tell like what about the First and Goal project is. I'm sure there's a lot on the website. I'm kind of learning as I'm going because this is a new partnership, but I mean, I'm all about it.
So for everybody that doesn't know, the First and Goal project and Dave DeRocher, and you guys should know because he has come on the podcast multiple times, and he is always about helping his community, right? In this event specifically is about helping the veteran community, right? And with Kager Gaming here, right, one of the new partnerships to be able to make this event even bigger than what it is. This year, how many celebrities did we have?
Oh, this year. You're asking me these hard questions.
I know, right?
There's a lot. There's a bunch of pro football players. There's all different athletes. There's, I think, a couple different stars. There's some people from the Mayans TV show.
Correct.
Like, there's a whole list of people. They might have some band members here too.
They do, right? Yeah. And they have some of the coaches from the NFL teams, right? So with that, it's been a very effective and very successful event. They had approximately 40 or 50 veterans that they sponsored to come on to play onto the game and can mingle with the football players, with the celebrities, and talk a little bit about everything what they're doing. But enough about the First and Goal project right now. Kager Gaming, what are you doing next?
What are we doing? Let's see. Well, we're doing in-person events, and so our community, last time we talked, it had about 600 people. We're up to 1,100 now. Wow. Just in our community, our social media presence has grown. We're doing monthly events. We're the last Friday of every month. We're doing the American Legion Post 291. We have 16 Xboxes and televisions, and we set it up in their fireside room, and it becomes a military lounge. Like it just feels like home. You get a bunch of vets together, playing together. and it feels like a good time. People drinking, having good food, just talking the crap to each other, and it's just that little bit of networking in person that has repeat people coming. And so all of our focus now is just more events like that, getting people together. That's the primary mission, because that's enough to stave off suicide or depression or anything that cause these major mental health episodes when they're not treated for long periods of time. You put that little bit of community in there, you put the resources, people get help when they need it, and it doesn't become a big problem. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get people the help that they need. The next thing we're doing is we're working with an organization called Patriots in Pause, which they give out free furniture. They'll furnish a veteran's house completely for free with tables, chairs, silverware, whatever. And so they invited us out to their Anaheim warehouse, and we're doing the same thing. We're setting up Xboxes. Last time we had a bunch of homemade tacos.
Yes,
we are just having a good time. Getting people are playing games, eating good food, and just being part of the veteran community again. And so that's the future. The future is having those all over, either virtual or in person.
wow. And without getting personal, right? You talk about your mission is helping us prevent the suicides, right? I know off camera, we talked a little bit, right? If you're comfortable, can you share some of the actual products, right? Or some of the actual things that have you been successful as an organization to prevent?
So just in the past month, we've directly prevented 2 suicides. And it was 2 individuals. There was one first responder and there was another a Canadian Armed Forces member. Because we have people from all over. We're all NATO.
Literally
too.
all over the world.
All over the world.
All over the world.
And so both of these individuals were clear signs of suicide. They had left a note. A family member contacted us about one. And then the other was we have our in-house peer support. We call it Buddy Check. And so this other individual talked to somebody in Buddy Check. They set up the red flag. They're like, hey, this individual's doing this, this, and this. And so he initiated the emergency contact. We got the Royal Canadian Police sent to his house, prevented suicide. He had attempted before, that same night, had tried to hang himself. Was talking to our member. By the time the cops got there, they prevented it. So he had one failed attempt that night, and then we saved him. And so the first one, unfortunately, he went dark. He's fine. He's mad at us, which anybody that's listening, I would rather you be mad at me for the rest of your life and be alive. I will do everything possible, and our team will do everything possible to save your life, even if it means you're mad at us, because that's the end of the goal. Because suicide and everything that affects, it's a temporary thing, and it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And at one point in that individual's life, they're going to realize that was temporary, and they're going to move on. And even if they don't want to talk to us anymore, they're alive, and that's what matters. We prevented that. So,
for everybody that doesn't know, right, or doesn't recognize the symbol, this is Krager Gaming, right? So tell us a little bit about how this logo came about for our audience who doesn't remember from the episode.
Fair enough. So we hired a graphic artist through Fiverr, and we were trying to find something that reflected who we are. And that symbol, which a lot of people relate to Mexico, where it's the bird of prey attacking the hawk. It's actually from, I believe, ancient Greece. And so it's a symbol of overcoming adversity. And for us, the eagle is the warrior, the snake is the problem. It's suicide, it's mental health. And so that's the symbolism of the patch. Krieger is German for warrior. We didn't want to have just another name, Warrior Gaming or anything like that, because warrior is overused. So we went with Krieger. I did German because I took German in high school. I don't know. It sounded cool. So we're like, hey, let's do that. But Krieger Gaming, it's warrior gaming. And it's just a big community of veterans and first responders talking trash to each other, sharing resources, giving each other help, and having a good time.
How can our community get a hold of you, and how can our community be a part of Krager Gaming?
So I'll give you this. So I don't know if you can see that. So that's our website right there, the QR code. But you can go to KriegerGaming.com, which is at the end of the email right there. And you can get in touch with us that way. You can join our online community. Our online community has free peer support, games, all kinds of stuff. So that's the heart and soul of everything. But you can also find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, all all the socials.
Mhm.
But other than that, come down to American Legion Post 299 or 291. Sorry,
291.
291 in Newport Harbor, the fourth Friday of every month, and Patriot Symposium in Anaheim, second Sunday of every month. Those are the other ways to get a hold of us.
Beautiful. Jordan, we're going to see each other live, and then we're also going to stream. One of the next events that we're streaming is going to be his event. Hopefully, this upcoming, the fourth Friday of this month at the Legion, American Legion, Post 291. If you don't know where it is, Google it. If you can't Google it, reach out to us and we will make it happen. Trust me, this community, we will get the American Legion Post Commander. Right now, the financial guy for the American Legion Post 291 is sitting here right here next to us, Return to Roots podcast, and he will be coming very shortly to talk about what his role is, who he is, and what he came about. Without further ado, thank you, Return to Roots podcast. Jordan, again, thank you. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thanks for having me.
Christine, you're next.
I need to be there because I need to have chat.
We also do a bunch with
So while we're getting Christine
No, we're not.
onto the show,
Wait a second. Are we live
Yes.
right now? But I'm not really
We
staying
are.
here, you guys.
so
I'm really not going to be on. I'm going to get Shad, who's with the National Veteran
that is
Foundation.
fine.
Okay.
But in the meantime, until we can get Shad, who are you, Christine? For our audience who doesn't remember who you are.
I just put it in a cup and go.
Here, I'll let you talk while I go get them.
Don't do that. Christine Mantilla, the Veteran Series Forum, part of Milta Vet. And here is my other co-host with the Veteran Series Forum, DB Cooper.
Hey, what's up? Where am I at? Oh, hi.
Who are you? What do you do? What is the Veteran Series? What is that about?
So the Veteran Series is a place where we come together and we talk with veterans and resources, and we have hard conversations, the real conversations. We have topics like claims, PTSD, housing, and the housing help. We have the conversations we need to have to try to find the resources to help veterans. And there's amazing resources out there. There's amazing nonprofits. There's amazing veterans doing things for veterans. And so we want to get them together and share. And we have veterans helping us do this.
There you go. That's the right hand.
So who are you?
I'm Daniel.
And how do you help?
That's all I do. I'm her muscle. So all I do is I lift the heavy stuff. I take the heavy stuff down. I transport the heavy stuff.
He picks things up
Yeah.
and puts them back
I
down.
put them down. I pick them up and put them down. So yeah, I came alongside Christine a couple years ago actually, and I like to think of myself as someone who likes to work in the shadows a bit, you know, and I don't shake hands a lot, you know. Christine, again, she's the one who's always shaking hands and kissing babies, you know. She's good at it. Me, myself, and I talk to the veterans. I try to bring them in. I'm spreading the news. Christine's always like, share the news, share the links, share. So I'm getting the word out, you know, and trying to bring veterans in, because that's who we're trying to reach. You know, at the end of the day, that's who we're trying to reach. So I'm just spreading the word. I spread the word. You know, again, it's been an amazing two-year journey so far. Hopefully, more years down the road.
Yeah, and more connections.
I'm support. That's what I do.
In the 2 years that you have been part of this, what have you accomplished?
Oh, wow.
That's a
From
good
little
question.
things like getting a single mother who's homeless a meal and a couple checks to
Let me put a pause to that. A simple thing, the mindset, right? What to her is a simple thing, it changed somebody's life, right? I want to emphasize that, right? Because as a humble human being, they don't put enough emphasis on what they do, on how much value it creates. And with that, what else? What else
well,
have you
these
done?
are simple things that all of us could be doing all the time. As little as an introduction to an amazing organization or an introduction to a person you know that is willing to help. And that's why I say simple, because all of us can be doing this all the time and people are not. And there are amazing organizations that are working right now. And instead of going and recreating an organization of your own or making your own nonprofit, we should be helping and referring to the other organizations. And so, like, here's somebody. Come on over here. We're saving your seat. We're keeping it warm.
Come on, Chad.
Here is Shad with the National Veteran Foundation. Yeah, I'm gonna let you take this seat. So we want to share another amazing veteran with you right now.
Oh, you can stay seated. He can take my seat.
As Christine runs away to keep on working for the veteran community.
Nothing personal. Nothing personal.
I'll
I'm
come back
sorry.
to share
I just had a chiropractic
Perfect.
I just had a chiropractic workout.
No worries.
Oh,
So-
man, that guy's unbelievable.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Can you introduce yourself
Sure.
to our audience
I would
and
love
tell
to.
them
I'd love
who
to.
you
We're live,
are,
Chad. We're live, by the
who
way.
do you represent, and what does your organization do?
First of all, I guess I'm looking this way.
That
but
is correct.
I'm Shad Meshad. I'm a Vietnam vet. I was in Vietnam in 1970. I'm an author on the war. I was a mental health officer, one of 15 during the Vietnam War that served over 500,000 war fighters from I Corps to 4 Corps. I survived, came back, was asked to set up a program for Vietnam vets because there were no programs for them. The war was very unique. And hospital in Los Angeles. I'm from the South originally. And they asked me to evaluate the largest VA hospital, which I failed after 90 days. And they said, fix it. And the only way to do that was to go find Vietnam vets. Well, there were 350,000 in the Los Angeles County area, believe it or not, twice the size of the city I was raised in. And I hit the streets, East LA, South Central, Venice Beach, the canyons. I was everywhere. And they gave me a unit, and it was called the Vietnam Veterans Resocialization Unit. It was supposed to be the last war, but it wasn't, obviously. And I got notoriety because I was the only one doing it. And I started this thing called rap groups, where I did groups of Vietnam vets all over the city, people like Ron Kovic and names that you maybe know of, maybe not the young folks do. And eventually I got invited to the White House because there was a push to set up a national program for Vietnam vets coming home. And Jimmy Carter brought me in with Max Cleland, a triple amputee, that became the VA secretary. And I took the model of my program in LA, and it became Public Law 9622, which is the National Vet Center program. I set up the first 100 in America, and there's over 300 now across the United States. And I did that for 7 years, and then I left and started my own nonprofit called the National Veterans Foundation, because unfortunately we weren't the last war. We were one of many that came after, particularly Desert Storm, and then came the Iraq and Afghanistan war. And we have been locked in running a information hotline in suicide. We had the first suicide hotline in America. For many of you that know war fighters or whatever, they have a highest incident of suicide when they come home because of a number of reasons. I don't know how much time I have to talk about that.
No, go ahead.
We've done
Please,
that.
please.
Well, you know who fights the war. It's high school graduates. It's 18, 19-year-olds that are the ones, when they talk about war fighters, these are the ones that go in and put their lives in danger. And so they're just in adolescence. And we know it's mental health. I'm a mental health officer, that adolescence goes to 26 to 28, late in adolescence. They're still in adolescence. They come back, and how many people suffer life and death situations, near death situations? They're adolescents. They come back. They've never had any experience in society as a civilian or whatever. They've been trained to be professional killers. That's all they know. They've survived it. They come home. And then, particularly in our war, we fought the war in Vietnam and the war coming home. They spit on us. Never lost a battle, but we lost the war. Go figure that. But these guys have come back, and they've done multiple tours. Thank God I only survived one tour. A lot of these men have done 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tours. And they've had even more contact with the enemy than any war that we've had. And I could go into that too. So I have really never been busier since 2001 with the Iraq and Afghanistan veterans dealing with post-traumatic stress. I'm one of the pioneers, one of 5 of us that wrote the definition of PTSD in the 70s. We fought the APA and we finally won in 1980. We didn't call it post-traumatic stress disorder. We call it delayed traumatic response. That's what we wanted to call it. But the APA, who we fought for years in the 70s to give a diagnosis for warfighters, they called it post-Vietnam syndrome from 69 to whatever. What does that mean? You can't get anything. You were either a character disorder or you were psychotic. We were none of those for the big part. Maybe 1% were psychotic or character disorders. Character disorders mean you can't follow commands. You don't know how to do it. How do you become a veteran if you can't command a man? That's just ridiculous. And psychotic, are you kidding me? Nobody, maybe 0.1% suffered psychosis in the war, but that was our definition, and it had no meaning. If you applied for character disorder, you didn't get any benefits. If you had to fake it to become psychosis, then you're medicated and you don't have a life the rest of your life. So that was my big battle in the 70s with several other colleagues to change that. And one of my major colleagues was a Marine combat vet, Charles Figley. Dr. Charles Figley, we're best friends to this day. And we got in there. He wrote a book about delayed traumatic stress amongst Vietnam veterans. And we jammed it down Congress, and they finally took it, and the APA had no choice but to give it a definition. Unfortunately, they gave it post-traumatic stress disorder. But they had the power to do that. But anyway, we got it in the DSM-3. It's now up to DSM-5 and moving on. It's been redefined. I've been all over the world teaching PTSD, talking about peer-to-peer counseling, because I think the most effective counseling is someone that's been there, whether it's mental health professional or someone that is transitioned back, that knows all the roadblocks to coming back and being a civilian, and having a normal life. And our war is called living the dream. What is the dream? It's not Disneyland. The reality is you got to get your shit together. You got to either go to school, you got to have housing. If you want to get married, there's a lot of responsibilities in that transition. And we did that through the Vet Center program, and then I got tired of the bureaucracy, and I wanted to figure out what is the simplest thing to do. I want to make it simple, stupid for veterans when they get out of the service. And what is it? To have a peer say, hey, bro, welcome out into the real world. Let me tell you I need to give you basic training about how the real world is. You've had basic training to be a professional killer, a warfighter, but it's totally different coming into civilian life. You can't use all of those skills. What you can use is all the discipline, the training, but you got to get focused on what the civilian life means and what it looks like and where to go, whether it's education, training, job training, marriage counseling, whatever you need, PTSD counseling, which they never had until my war. And it's important to have all those.
collect your train of thought.
Return to Root podcast.
I'm right
We
here.
had a technical difficulty. The internet literally died. This amazingness.
Who gives a shit? We're
Right.
back. Cut
So
me
there
some
you go.
slack. I want it
What
back.
were we doing?
I don't know what we were doing, but we're talking about the truth. And can you handle the truth is what this is about.
Can you
This is
handle the
the
truth?
truth. The truth is readjustment is a motherfucker. It is very difficult to transition out of combat, multiple tours or whatever, and come in and be a nice guy in Disneyland. I mean, that's kind of what most Americans experience. They na-na land. This is not what that is. And my whole life is dedicated to honing and being a basic trainer with words and rap groups and therapy to say, hey, let's look at the reality you're in. You're gonna live the rest of your life in this reality as a civilian. I know that we have all these stories about being a combat vet, whatever we did, Army, Navy, Marines, and maybe Space Force, but it doesn't matter. I had to get that in.
Shots fired.
Anyway,
Shots
whatever,
fired.
you know, satellites or whatever you're
Fire
up to.
for effect.
The bottom line is when you get out, you're not going to be in outer space. You're not going to be in Afghanistan, Iraq, Vietnam, wherever the next one is. You're going to be in Disneyland, the world. And the world is not, there's no DI there training you how to transition at 20, 21, 25, 30 into this world that is completely different than what you were trained for. But what we do is we try to play off the talents you got. You're disciplined. You know stress. You know how to hump it through mud and bad times or whatever. And in my groups, I try to play off of that and say, now let's take that to the next level. Let's take it to where you can be all you can be. I think that's
Hoo-yah.
the Marine thing.
Oh, wait.
All you can be.
Hoorah.
Hoorah, whatever.
Wait, what is it?
Army, I'm sorry. I got a lot of Marines. So give me a Marine. Simplify. You want to be simplified
I gotta walk away.
in the you want to be simplified in the real world. The real world is now the civilian world, whether you like it or not. And that's the big transition. And that's what my whole career has been about for 53 years. I've buried 30 of my patients, both from suicide. I've buried my patients in my war from Agent Orange, and we're burying a lot of the Iraq and Afghanistan vets that have not made that transition. And that pisses me off. And I've been to Congress 20 times or whatever, but the bottom line is it looks like it's got to be us, the veteran. And so I push for veteran leadership to say, hey, because we know that side that nobody knows. We know what happens in combat. Most people don't. They see it in movies, they hear songs or whatever. That's not what it's about. That first bullet goes over your head, you realize you're crying for your mama, you're crying to stay alive or whatever, and you're relying on your buddies. And the greatest thing is for veterans that come home to cluster together because they understand. My whole world has been in the veteran world because they understand me, I understand them, but I know where they need to go. And I want them to have a life. I want them to live the dream. I want them to come home and have everything that the rest of Americans have that have not had the trauma, facing death, facing all kinds of chemical warfare, whatever they face. The bottom line is we want them to transition and be a part of this world we've got. I want to see them in the leadership. I want to see them in Congress. I want to see them in the Senate. I want to see them president. So I'm hoping those out there realize that's what this country needs. People that know the truth. Amen. Shed Meshed, checking out. U.S. Army Captain, Medical Service Corps, 1970. I'm an author on the war. I'm ready to write another book about my trip after that. But it's all about what we talked about today. It's all about transition. We're not going to be soldiers. We're not going to be professional killers after we get out. We want to be successful Americans. We want to go all the way for this country, the greatest country in America. Amen.
Amen.
So let me ask you this. How can our veteran community, our service members, get a hold of you? How can they participate? How can they become leaders? What would be the first step that you would tell them to do?
I would first say, first of all, like the people that I've met today here at this American event, a golf tournament where people are coming to raise money for veterans, I'd say let's contact and let's have a seminar. Let's have a convention of talking about what we can do and where we need to go to change this country, because it's not the same country 50, 60, 70 years ago that I was raised in. We've got a lot. We've got to get back into what I hate the word patriotism. But what does it mean? Nobody knows what it means, but it's about what we have, a constitution, taking care of the world that we're in, protecting our land, and also taking care of those that fight and lay their lives down for what we have today. And that is scary today because we're in all these kind of wars that really there's no winners in war. I've said that over and over in documentaries. Nobody wins in war. But for the veterans that come back, they have seen the other side, and now they have the wisdom. I used to say the Vietnam veterans were the philosopher kings of society all through the 70s and 80s before Desert Storm and your war. I used to say they're the ones. You need to talk to them because they know the other side. And it's not flaky. It's not this pie in the sky stuff about freedom and this or that or whatever. It really is. It's really about our Constitution. It's about serving your country. It's about getting serious about not only what we represent, but what we do and taking care of those that protect and preserve this institution. This is what it's about. It's what my life's about. It would keep me young. I'm going to be 80 years old pretty soon, and I feel as alive as ever. Just the body's getting old. But, hey, it's about a group effort. It's about everybody coming together, just like my team. My whole team that runs the National Veteran Event, all Iraq and Afghanistan vets. I'm the old guy, but I'm sort of point person. I'm like the hood ornament on a car. But the thing is trying to get leadership to understand what I'm saying today. I hope I was articulate enough for you to understand. But we got to come together, regardless of politics or whatever. We got to come together and realize what's best for the future of this country. And I think the veteran is the one that can really state that. And I'm saying that not as a preacher or whatever, but someone that has borne the brunt of war, has come back, has done everything I can as best I could as one individual to provide reintegration in our society. But man, I've met my greatest people that I've met, and they're not celebrities or whatever, are all the vets that have served their country. I walked into this thing today. I didn't know anybody, and I feel like everybody's my brother. I feel like I served with every one of them. It's the greatest feeling in the world. Army, Navy, Marine. Or Space Force. I haven't met a Space Force. I'll be looking up when I leave, but I would give them an embrace. These guys will have to tell me. So what else you want to know?
So the National Veterans Foundation, the Lifeline for American Veterans, 1-888-777-44443.
888-777-443. We've been around going on 39 years.
Do you have social media?
We have social media, nvf.org, www.nvf.org. You'll see so much of our history, videos, everything. But the main thing is for us to come together. I'm out here today. I'm a part of this, but I'm not really one of the sponsors or whatever. I'm here because so many of my comrades are here. I'm sitting next to them. Amen.
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 Well, thank you for coming on the show.
God bless you.
No. Don't be sorry. I absolutely love your energy, your enthusiasm, and your reality. So thank you for coming. We're going to bring you back onto the show just to have your own episode so that we can have this kind of conversation, deep heart conversation about what we do, what we can do, and how we can do to influence the government to be able to provide better support for our veteran community.
Amen. I'm with you guys. I'm here till I go down, bro. That's all I can say. My legacy speaks for itself. Check me out, nvf.org.
Beautiful.
Love
Thanks,
you, bro.
boss.
Love all you
Appreciate
guys.
you.
Love all you guys out here. Stage left. Good. I love hitting on good. He's got so much meat on it.
And now we're gonna bring in MVP.
Oh my God. Let me get out of here.
No.
This saltiness right here. It's all about telling the truth, man. And you have a truth that I don't have.
Mill
You
to
just
vet.
add to it. Get in there and
Thank
punch it
you.
out, bro.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting. And we're here to introduce our next guest and our next organization, which is the MVP. What is MVP?
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate you, Yogi.
Pleasure.
Been a minute. Been meaning to get this done. How you doing, everybody? Sergio Cuevas, United States Marine Corps, 2007, 2016. Emerging Vets program manager for Emerging Vets and Players. We are a nonprofit organization designed to bring in combat veterans and former professional athletes and really create a team and network community that support each other through transition. So our founder, Jay Glazer, Fox Sports analyst on NFL Sunday, and our co-founder, Nate Boyer, former Green Beret, also played a little bit with the Seattle Seahawks. 2015, they realized there was a correlation between combat veterans and former professional athletes, and I'll just say veterans now in general. When you transition, you get out of sport, you get out of the military, you lose a sense of your purpose, your identity, that camaraderie, and a lot of accountability as well. And so what they did was they brought us into Jay's gym out in West Hollywood. It's called Unbreakable Performance. A lot of people don't realize it's there. It's a really high-level gym. And we get to work out once a week. It's a 2-hour workout, so we'll do about 45 minutes of strength training, whether it be body weight training or maybe light dumbbells. And then we'll do about 30, 45 minutes of sparring, whether it be boxing, MMA. We'll do some light jiu-jitsu, handwork, wrestling work. And the whole point of that is to just kind of get the endorphins going, get yourself trained and your blood flowing, and really just kind of get your mind off of the day's bullshit. If I can cuss on here, I'm cussing here anyways. I've already said it, so I'm gonna fucking keep saying it. But just kind of get your endorphins going. I like to tell people all the time, whenever we go out in life, whether it's doing our activities, we always put up a mental wall to protect ourselves and our mind and our energy from other people's negativity. And we want to bring that down just a little bit. The whole concept is to raise the endorphins, bring down that wall so that when we sit down and we do what we call the huddle, we're having a peer-to-peer conversation about whatever's going on in your day, your life. It could be a anniversary of something that happened to you, either in the sport or in the military. You could just want to vent about your boss, whatever the case may be. It's a secure, confidential huddle that nobody's allowed to repeat anything. No notes are taken. And you just talk about whatever's going on. And the best part is the feedback you get, if you're looking for it, is coming from individuals who have been in the same position, whether they're an athlete who is no longer in the sport, or whether they're a veteran who's experienced some of the same issues with whether it's VA or just life in general. And that's the whole point of the program. We do a lot of outside activities. We work with a lot of teams, so sometimes we'll get to go to games as a team. For instance, we went to the Dodgers opening series. We had 50 tickets. We took a bunch of veterans and their families, right? Everybody had a good time, and it was veterans and athletes. That's the best part. Athletes are enjoying they're enjoying the days with us and the activities with us. We'll go out, we'll do community hikes, we'll do beach days, we'll do picnics, we'll do barbecues, you name it, we do stuff like that. So on top of a free weekly service that you get to go out and get, some physical fitness in, even if it's just one day a week, but also that peer-to-peer support, we're also out there doing community activities of just enjoying each other's camaraderie, right? Creating that team, creating that community of family that we, oftentimes we don't always get.
So how can someone get involved with the MVP?
Oh, real simple. So you go to vetsandplayers.org. There's a pretty awesome website. You go to there's multiple ways. If you're looking to join, you want to join MVP, vetsandplayers.org, go to join MVP. There's a drop-down menu. You'll see a map of the United States. It has all the 8 different chapters. We have Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Seattle, Dallas, Chicago, Atlanta, and then we also have a virtual. So you might want to you'll jump on one of those. You click apply. You submit your application for a membership, and you'll get to just submit your DD-214. We don't care. I don't care what your service is. To be quite honest, you can have other honorable, bad conduct, honorable. That doesn't matter. Just submit your DD-214 so we can verify that you served. If you're an athlete, D1 athlete, go ahead and just submit some kind of evidence showing that you are playing in a sport and you'll get accepted. Myself or any one of the 8 program managers will reach out. We also have a virtual platform, so if you're too far from a physical location, we have the same platform. We do the same process. It's a workout, and then we sit down and we do a huddle on the virtual computer, and we have members all over the country, athlete and veteran, that join us every week. So go to vetsclares.org, get signed up. If you're not a veteran, if you're not an athlete, or you just want to be involved, click on the events tab. It'll give you a drop down, and it gives you events that we have throughout the entire organization across the country. Some events are requests to sign up for. For instance, I'm having a community workout here in Hawthorne at Systems Training Center. If you're interested, want to check it out, it's open to everybody. You can bring your spouse, bring your friends, whoever. Just sign up and come join us. We also have, we're doing a Carry the Load. It's a partnership with Carry the Load. We're walking across the United States, all over the country. We're going to meet up down in Texas. We're doing 2 legs here in Los Angeles, and then we have a walk to remember. And we're going to be doing a walk from Santa Monica Pier to the Los Angeles National Cemetery. And those are all free. You can join, bring your, if you want to represent your service, you want to represent, somebody that you lost, and you just want to memorialize them. We asked you go ahead and do so. We make that walk. It's probably about a 3-mile walk, and we move pretty fast. So it's pretty good. We usually get about 60 people out there. So it's pretty good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it gets pretty.
Oh, wow.
We've had about 100 people out there before. So it's been, we get some pretty good walks, pretty good participation. We usually average between 20 to 25 members per session. So.
Wow. So is this something that you have experienced yourself? Is this something that you have been a part of? Or is this something that you just program manager?
No. I got out of the Marine Corps in 2016. It's highly recommended I get out by my command. Had a rough going with my spouse at the time. And, I got out of the Marine Corps. Was tough to let go of the military. Ended up getting divorced, having a hard time there. And actually, my friends, guys I served with, helped start MVP with Nate and Jay. And a couple of the founding members helped create MVP, and they saw I was struggling around that time, so they brought me in. And at the time, I didn't think much of it. I was just kind of there going through it, and started really kind of getting involved with it. And then as that was going on, we were opening up the second location, which was in Vegas. And that was, again, with more guys from mine, friends of mine from 2-7, some brothers. They opened up Las Vegas with Randy Couture. So they work out of Extreme Couture over in Las Vegas. And, I got a chance to kind of just give my input and kind of volunteer and guide, and yeah, just been a part of the program ever since. So kind of stepped away for a little bit, got a job working with LA County for a little bit. And then as COVID hit, we switched over to a virtual platform. We were one of the first and only organization dedicated to mental health, where as soon as the country shut down, we immediately went to virtual. And we had hundreds of people on this platform every week. Started doing multiple locations because we were just getting so busy. A lot of people were sharing, they were struggling. And then post-COVID, we had so many people sign up that we had to open up other chapters. So that's how we ended up opening up Seattle and Dallas and then now Phoenix. And so I've been a part of it for a very long time. I've been very, very appreciative of MVP. It's definitely saved me. I wish MVP was here a long time ago. I wish it was something that I was able to transition with coming out of the military, because what I know now coming out after everything I've been through, it would have been very, very helpful. And I think it could have saved me from a lot of mistakes I made coming out of the military.
Speaking of that, if you could go back in time, if you could tell yourself prior to you joining the military, some advice to either 1, be successful in the military, or 2, be able to weather the storm, what advice would that be?
That's tough. I'm probably one of very few. A lot of people have by this point now. I joined the Marine Corps at 23. pretty much considered an old man. I mean, when your senior drill instructor is younger than you, I mean, you're probably
Right.
You're probably an old man. So I mean, coming in, I kind of had an idea of what I was getting myself into. You never really know for sure, but you just know it's going to suck, especially in the Marine Corps. And it was something I signed up for. It was something I wanted. I wanted it bad. It was a lifelong dream of mine. And so I would say, you know, I would have been a little more cautious in some of the things I've done, like not within the military, but just decisions I made. You know, maybe some re-enlistment decisions that I made, you know, choosing geographical location of where I wanted to go. Or, you know, those are the kind of the things at the time I enjoyed it 100%. I was absolutely loving the Marine Corps. You know, did recruiting and then went to Tank Battalion. I was supposed to go to Hawaii. Probably should have just went to Hawaii instead of Tank Battalion. But Tank Battalion was good. I mean, it's you know, it's one of those, especially now that First Tanks is no longer there. I can say, you know, I was part of that battalion. I made some great friends. You know, I try not to live life with regrets, man. Honestly, I try not to change too much. You know, I take every lesson I learn and I try to apply it not just to my life, but to my kids' life, and try to, you know, coach them up and those around me, because, you know, we're taught these lessons for a reason. You know, whether it's a good reason or a bad reason, you know, we're taught them for a reason. And I find it as just a way that you can elevate yourself if you really look at it and apply it to your life. I wouldn't do anything different, man. I would just stay to it.
Okay. What advice would you give someone, and how early, that is currently in the military to have a successful transition?
Man, that's hard. You know, with what I'm facing, what I see every day as a program manager, as a peer support specialist, you know, I see a lot of veterans who want to stay. They don't want to go back home. And as a recruiter, I know a lot of veterans come from the Midwest, come from, you know, what they call the flyover states. They leave there because they know there's really not much there for them to do. But, you know, staying close to the base, you know, just trying to stay into an area because it's fun. You know, California is tough. California is extremely tough. And if it's really something you want to do, you need to have multiple plans. And going to college isn't just going to pay the bills. You're going to need to have a job. Your disability isn't going to just cover the bills. You're going to have a job. Unfortunately, it's just the way life is out here in California, United States. But I would definitely say make a conscientious effort to apply yourself to becoming a civilian. Like, don't just think Marine Corps, the military is all you have. Like, start really applying yourself to kind of not separating yourself from the military from an emotional standpoint. Because a lot of times as veterans, we get out and we feel like, oh, well, you know, I'm in the military. I was in the military. Unfortunately, I would love to say everybody out here, yeah, there's a lot of support, but there's a lot of people that don't really care that you're in the military. Your service doesn't really apply to them. Yes, we're all grateful for it. Yes, we love the fact and we appreciate that fact, but not everything is going to be around your military life. And if you continue to hold on to that when you get out, it's going to make your transition a lot harder. But I would definitely connect with those peer support programs, regardless of who they are. Look for as much support as you can get, and just really apply yourself to separating yourself emotionally from the military. Because you hold on to it too long, it's going to hurt you.
So the analogy that comes to mind is when you are as a person, you're holding a rope, right? And at the end of that rope, it's all of your problems. But you're holding onto them and you're pulling. The only thing that's gonna get damaged is gonna be your hand. You could potentially see it as you're gonna get calluses eventually, and then you're gonna be tougher, stronger, because you're carrying all that weight.
Yeah.
But at the same time, how much less damage could you have if you just let go of it and not carry that problem?
Oh man, a lot of people, getting out of the military, we carry a lot of baggage. We carry a lot of memories with us. We carry a lot of pain, a lot of heartache, a lot of pride, and that's not a bad thing. But you can't let it drive your decisions you make and what's going to lead to your future. And so I would definitely suggest letting go of quite a bit of it, letting go of the past. What's done is done. There's nothing that says you can't honor your brothers and sisters. There's nothing that says you can't be prideful of your service. Absolutely. But don't let that be the only thing that identifies you. Because before you were a military personnel, you were also somebody's son, you were somebody's daughter, you were somebody's child, you were somebody's, parent, you were somebody's spouse, you were somebody's grandchild. Like, remember who you were. We lose a lot of who we were before the military, before we went in, and we just wrap ourselves up with who we become in the military, and we don't want to let it go. And that's one of the biggest things you got to learn to do. I identify, I'm a Marine, I'm a veteran. I love it. I'm always going to be a Marine and veteran. When I first got out, it was like, I'm a Marine. Yeah, okay. Now I'm like, I'm also a father. I'm also a son. I'm also a significant other to somebody. Like, put focus on the things that are going to be still in your life. And somebody, before I got out, I had a former first sergeant that I had tell me, I asked him, I was given an option, stay in the military or get out and be with my family. I couldn't have both. My spouse at the time was causing a lot of problems, and they were just like, look, you're going to get promoted and go on in your career, but she's going to drag you down. So choose one or the other. And, I did a lot of soul searching, and I did a lot of, collaborating with my peers. And I had one of my first sergeants tell me, he goes, look, man, you're in your 30s. At some point, the military is going to be done with you, and they're just going to let you go. So, do you want to go home with nobody and nothing, or do you want to go home with a family who's going to love you and care about you? And that's what mattered, and that hit, you know what I mean? And so I chose my family. Unfortunately, I still struggled with some challenges getting out, but at the end of the day, that wasn't all I had. I still had other stuff to offer, and I had other people there that loved me and care for me, and I was able to, like I said, with MVP, I was able to really identify that and drive on. So, but holding that as being your only, something that you hold on to when you get out, it's gonna hurt you. It's gonna hurt you big time. Because you're gonna go out and try to get a job. Okay, you're in the military. Obviously, you can't talk in acronyms. Not everything's life threatening. Depending on the job you get into, and a lot of times veterans get out and they carry that with them all the time. It's like, oh, well, I gotta be so aggressive and be so hardcore and just gung ho and everything. Yeah, you can have that. That's great. You want to be that way, but you also have limitations of what you can do. Because, like I said, we're in a different world. Civilian world is a whole lot. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot different than what we usually encounter. So,
how can our audience get a hold of you?
So my email is scuevas@vetsandplayers.org, or you can reach out to vetsandplayers.org, and there's a contact us. You can reach out through there, and they will direct you to me. I'm located in West Hollywood, and Marine Wonder on Instagram. If you want to reach out to me on Instagram, that's perfectly fine. I'm not worried about it. But Vets and Players, scuevas@vetsandplayers.org. It's my email. Best way to get in touch with me.
Beautiful. Can we talk about what MVP is planning on to do next?
MVP is definitely growing, man. Growth is growth. We have two. So MVP Los Angeles, we have two satellite locations. One's going to be in Calabasas. We'll be operating monthly, so we'll have a once-a-month session. And then I have a secondary location that's just about to open up, a third location about to open up that's going to be monthly. We're having a community workout at Systems Training Center in Hawthorne. If you guys are interested, want to go to vetsandplayers.org, go to the events tab, click on the Systems Training Center community workout. It's April 27th. Sign up, come check us out. Guaranteed going to be a great time. You're going to get a good workout in. Systems Training Center has great staff, and we're just going to introduce the staff and the gym together, because that's going to be our third location out here in Los Angeles, and it's going to be a satellite, also once a month. And then Orange County, once we get systems up and running, hopefully Orange County will be down here by the end of the year, and San Diego as well. I know San Diego's been pushing. We just got to make sure we have all our T's crossed and I's dotted. Last thing we want to do is come out there and not be really ready for
Successful,
you guys.
yeah.
Want to be successful, because it's not our success. At the end of the day, it's the members. Our members
Exactly.
drive MVP. Our growth has not been because of any one person. Our growth has been because the members share it. A lot of members came in when we first started MVP. A lot of our members were homeless, living in shelters, living in transitional homes on the VA campus and outside. And most of these members now live across the country. They're all volunteers for the program if they don't work for the program. And they're opening up chapters in their areas. They're opening up satellite locations. And so, there's plenty of ways to be involved in the growth that they've shown. It just goes to show like how powerful MVP is. I've been to a lot of peer-to-peer support groups, the VA, the Vet Center, and all those amazing programs. But just the responses and the support you get from an MVP program is really, really, it's really unique. It's really hard to explain. It's one of those things where you just got to kind of show up and experience it for yourself. So, hoping to see a lot of new faces.
What can we do to help you out?
Share, get out there, join programs, join MVP, talk about MVP, reach out to us. Participation is key. At the end of the day, participation is key. And it's not necessarily just because we want our numbers up, it's because you never know the life you're going to save. I got people that reach out to me. I have a member from Chicago. We're having our national annual gala out in Texas this next Saturday. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it out there, but the team's going to be out there. I have members from Chicago asking me when I'm landing, because my story resonated with them. We aligned and we support each other. And, they're like, hey, man, when are you going to land? I'm sorry, brother, I'm not making out. They're like, oh, okay.
No.
They're like, no worries. We'll catch you at the next one. And okay, cool. So these guys are coming from all over the country, these members and the staff, are, supporting one another. But again, it just reinforces that we as veterans and as athletes, as supporters of each other, we drive this mission. And we always say, even if you're feeling good and you're not going through a struggle, you never know who you're going to save coming in. And I've had a lot of stories of members who never heard about MVP, but just showed up because they went to a community event or a community hike, and they ended up meeting a veteran or an athlete that aligned with them. They had the same struggles, and now they're best of friends, and they hang out all the time, and they're at the worst part of their life, and now they're at the top of their life, and they're doing great things. They're opening businesses, their families are growing, and at a time when they thought they weren't going to have nothing. And so that's what it comes down to. Just get involved. That's the biggest thing right there. That's the support I need.
Brother,
Yogi,
thank you.
appreciate you, man.
And
we will be down in San Diego, man. I'm definitely
absolutely. And our community, need to make this happen. We want San Diego to be a part of it.
Let's go.
And then we want for this to continue growing across the United States and across the world. MVP.
Let's go.
MVP. Who we are?
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, man.
Return to Roots Podcast. We're going to be taking a break. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for supporting our veteran community. Stay tuned when we come and bring you some of the other guests later on tonight. And then tonight, we will also be streaming live the First and Gold Project, the dinner of the First and Gold Project, and Dave DeRoche, and all of the amazing veterans, all of the amazing organizations, and all of the amazing professional athletes and superstars that came here to support us, our community, because they want us to be successful. They want us to be able to move forward, and they want to be part of the solution instead of being part of the problem. Without further ado, much love. See you in about an hour.
Yeah.
Hoo-yah!